Okay, well, I'm here with country star Carter Faith.
Country star.
No, actually, truly, let's just get to the chase. Not to make this about me, but to make it about me. You are living my dream right now.
Well, you can live vicariously through me.
And that's what I will be doing. You say that, and you're going to be like, get this girl away from me, literally.
I'm just living my Nashville TV dream.
Oh, my God.
Like, I just want to be Raina James.
I love Nashville. Like, the show.
best.
The city and the show. It is like
The show more.
The show, Raina James. Like,
Oh, my God.
oh, my
We can't
God.
really talk about it. I'll cry.
No, actually, that was I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but it was a really hard time to be me. Yeah.
My therapist hears about it, for sure.
Yeah, no, I get that. So we actually met on Instagram.
Yes.
It's the funniest story. I was telling them this earlier. So I don't know how I found your music. I'm assuming Spotify, like randomly put it on a playlist or something. And I had been listening to it for a while, and then I like screenshotted the song, posted it to my story, and then I had so many responses. Did you know the girls you went to high school with love you so much, by the way? No. I had so many DM replies about like, oh my God, I went to high school with her. She's so nice. You guys would get along so well, blah, blah, blah. And then I went to your profile because I was like, oh my God, I guess we have so much in common. All of your high school follows me. And then, which by the way, I've never had a DM from someone who went to high school.
Funny.
They love you. I wish I knew who it was.
I wish I did too.
I should have screenshot it.
That would change my life.
It was like multiple different people though.
That is so funny.
They were really sweet. I mean, nice girls, I think. But they, anyways, I went on your profile and then you had messaged me before and I was like, this is so crazy because I love your music. It was wild.
Well, I was even thinking earlier today, like, I'm pretty sure, like, my age is, like, the first, I don't even know how to explain this, but we grew up watching YouTube.
Yeah.
I watched, like, I think, like, the first videos I watched were those makeup collection videos. Literally every single product.
Yes.
You know, like the Alex drawers from IKEA, all that shit.
Oh my God. What
so, like, I, like, it's just weird.
Who all have you, like, watched on YouTube?
Sarah Bell.
Yeah,
Our queen.
I'm getting dinner with her tonight, actually.
Oh my God, love that.
Her.
Our queen, Danielle. I'm like, my best friend's Danielle, Kenzie Brooke.
Yes, I love
Lauren,
that.
Yeah. Literally no last names needed.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you guys hopefully know if you listen to this podcast. I'm like, if not, I'm like not doing a good job.
I don't know.
No, I love that. It's just such a small world.
I just feel like the worlds kind of intersect now, especially with TikTok. Like, we're all using it for same purpose, I guess.
I agree. Your TikTok is so funny. I saw
Oh my God.
I made the TikTok yesterday. What is it called? I was created by.
Yes. Written
by.
I saw that. I was like, yes, for sure.
I was Dolly Parton. She was Casey Musgraves.
Yeah, I feel like it's accurate.
I completely agree. Okay, so you've had a huge week. I obviously want to get into Nashville culture. I want to get into, being a country star because obviously I'm living vicariously through you, your journey. But before that, do you want to just share with the class the week that you've had because it has been unbelievable?
I would love to.
Yes.
Class. I've been putting out music for like 2 years now, but this week I'm Billboard Rookie of the Month, which is really crazy. Like Billboard.
Like
it's
the
weird.
Billboard.
Literally,
yeah.
I'm like, is it going to be in the magazine?
Yeah.
No. But
am I getting the cover?
Am I going to be printed? No. And then I just announced that I signed my co-pub deal with Universal Nashville, which I'm really excited because I just love writing. It's like in my soul. So, and I have a job now. So that's
good.
I mean, I guess that's nice, right? Like, I don't know. We all need money. So.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited. Yeah. I'm really, like, grateful. It's just weird. Like, I came here, I went to school for songwriting. That was my major. And so it's just, like, obviously what I wanted to do. It's just really awesome.
How long have you known that you could write? Because I think there's a difference between, like, oh, I like writing and then, being you.
Being able to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have, like, I think, like, looking back, everything makes sense. Like, I love to read so much. Like,
Same.
My punishment was taking the book away before bed, Like, it was, so that is the kid I was. And then I grew up, I'm from North Carolina, and my parents just love music. So I feel like I grew up in the backseat listening to the radio, and
What music were you listening to?
Country.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all I knew there was, honestly.
There was no other genre.
Nothing else.
It's like some kids who are really religious, like
Yes.
only know like Christian music, and that's country.
Yeah, country was my Jesus, I guess. But yeah, my grandpa would drive me to school, actually, like preschool, and like I guess that's my first memory is we'd get there, he'd let me climb in front and pick out cassettes to play. So that's why I love old music, because I just grew up on it a little, but I guess I didn't start writing till 16. So honestly, it's so cringe. Like, every time I say this, I'm pissed off because I don't want to give anyone any satisfaction.
Yeah.
But I was so heartbroken about this stupid idiot, and nothing was making me feel better. I was, like, pretty much beside myself, which is really upsetting because I was 16. And
yeah. Hey, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Like, I actually think my high school breakups were, like, more painful than, you know?
Like, it's weird because, I guess because it's, like, the first time and you're feeling it all so hard, but I'm also, like, you didn't fully go through puberty. How am I that heartbroken about you?
I remember thinking, like, no one told me it was going to hurt this bad, though. I would say that to friends, and we had a friend who had gone through a big breakup before, and we were all kind of, like, you know, judging her a little bit, because I'm like, you're being a little bit dramatic, like, calm down. And I remember, like clockwork, the next year and a half, when most of these girls are coming to visit me this weekend, like, to visit me, as if I live in Nashville, are coming to meet me for Girls Weekend in Nashville. But I just remember, like clockwork, for the next year and a half, all of us getting our hearts broken and then going back to that first friend and being like, hey, by the way, I'm really sorry, because
so sorry.
That was actually really bad. It's painful. It feels so stupid to say when you're like 16, but at the time it is awful.
Yes. And honestly, it shapes your whole idea of love.
Yeah.
Which is really depressing.
Yeah, it is.
I'm like, I don't deserve love. Anyway, tangent. But I guess I just had to write a freaking song, and that was the first time I ever wrote. So thank you to this stupid idiot, but also I don't want to give you that.
It's not like they get the credit. Like, it's your credit.
Like, congrats, you slammed my heart into the ground so hard.
But, like, look at you now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Like, do you think that this person sees that and is like, oh, like, I kind of, like, had a part to play in that?
I think so.
Yeah.
He can, whatever.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Not our friend.
See ya.
See ya. We're over that one.
Forgive and forget, but...
Yes. Okay, so I feel like a lot of artists don't choose to go to college. And you went to college for songwriting.
Yeah.
So was that what was your thought process behind that? Because I feel like I don't really even know that many people who went to college for music.
Yeah. So I'm a Gemini. I, very deeply feel that in my soul. But I say that because half of me is this artist. I want to just come and write songs and perform and travel, but I was so terrified to do that, honestly. Like, my education is really big in my family too, so I wanted to go to school, like, honestly, security blanket a little bit,
nothing holding you back.
Yeah, and I think, like, a lot of artists say, if you have a plan B, you don't want this enough, and I'm like, okay. Like, I mean, good for you, but, like, I don't think everyone needs to go to college at all, literally at all. I don't know. I mean, it gave me some things, but for sure not at all. But I'm just proud of myself that I did it. So I know, like, it meant a lot to my parents. And so that's really why, just because I'm always on two sides of every coin. I feel like I'm always like, let's freaking do this. And then I'm like, but I'm scared.
Yeah. So. Well, it's crazy because you're already a college grad.
Yes.
And now you're Billboard's Rookie of the Month.
So
and now, I mean, it's really wild. You've achieved a lot already.
Thank you.
It's really crazy.
Worked hard for sure.
So I want to talk about you performing. Like, when did that start? Was that something when you came to Nashville, or did you do that growing up?
So I performed a little bit at home. There's this one little bar in my hometown, and they would have open mic nights, and so my parents would make me do them because, like, I don't know if this is a trend with other people, but they knew before I did that I loved it even. So I would be forced to play these shows, and no one would come except for my family. But I did fall in love with it. Like, I'd play 4-hour cover shows because I couldn't write yet, and I was so shit at guitar and all that, but it's just like you're just in your own little world a little bit, and I'm sure you feel that with certain things, and I have so much going on in my head at all times, so like just getting to sing, you know, and just be on stage is really special to me. So I fell in love with that first. I mean, I didn't write until a couple years later. Now writing is like why I'm here, you know. I have to do it. I will do it no matter what. So, but performing is definitely a close second. I don't know.
I feel like that's very common. Like, you love one or the other. I feel like I hear that a lot.
I think so.
A little bit more. You have a favorite child.
Yes. And every parent who says they don't is lying. But
I'm like, I would know. I'm the favorite child.
Yeah, I would know. But literally, like, there's some artists here, like, I don't know, Lainey Wilson. She is the craziest person on stage. You can tell, like, she's an amazing writer as well. But on stage, she's just like, it's her stage.
Like, born to perform.
Born to perform. I was not.
Passion for fashion.
I was not born to perform, but I do love it.
So when you go up on stage, are you still terrified every time? Or are you like, okay. I was just wondering.
Oh my God.
So, like, what do you do when you're really nervous?
I mean, I haven't gotten a routine yet, honestly, which I think will help one day a little bit. Like, love a night routine, love all that stuff. But my on-show routine is a little different because, you know, sometimes I'm playing with a band, sometimes I'm not. And I think the only thing that has worked is, like, just forgetting about it for, like, a couple hours. Like, I can't be practicing backstage. I have to just go on and do it a little. And then sometimes, like, wine, obviously.
Yeah. I was like, if it's me, I'm taking a shot of tequila. Yeah. And I know that's probably not a good answer.
Yeah. The only thing about me is I'm so, like, on edge. I know I can't black out. Yeah. Like, I won't.
I'm saying one, but yeah.
Like, I wish I could drink.
And it would just be.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm for sure, like, I would be, again, not to make it about me, but, like, here I am living vicariously through you. I would for sure be like, you know, I think a shot of, like, a Casamigos. I don't see a way around it. I really don't for myself.
There's not really. I was trying not to say it, but it's like,
I was avoiding it for sure, but yes.
You have to kind of levitate a little.
Yes.
In a way.
Okay, so you have such a unique college experience.
Yes.
You're living in Nashville. You're becoming a country star. What was that like? Was it kind of weird? And obviously impossible to balance. I can't even imagine your day to day.
Yeah, well, you get it with, like, the weird college thing.
I do.
So I went to a school that wasn't fully music. It's also, like, really Christian. So a little weird intersection there because I was, like, one of few country artists there, I would say. So it's just two sides merging in a very interesting way. I think the smartest thing I ever did was not, I mean, this is terrible to say, but I think the smartest thing I ever did was not, like it was my part-time job, basically, going to school. Yeah. And I know that for some people it has to be the other way, like, and it should. But for me, that's why I am where I am, because I was gonna miss class if I had a amazing write, you know, like. Well,
obviously that makes sense.
Like, you can't.
You gotta think long term.
You have to think long term, and, you know, I went to school for songwriting. If I'm gonna have a cool write, I have to miss a class, and so my college experience was. I got out of it what I put into it, for sure. But, I think, like, I met some of my best friends there. I met my boyfriend there, but I'm ready for the next chapter.
No, I feel that.
It was
it
was just
It's tough, especially, like, more unique college experiences. I think they're just, people always, I'm not one of those people who's like, college were the best years of my life.
No.
At all. And I'm now in Dallas with, like, all of my, like, friends, normal friends. By that, I mean, like, they don't put their lives on the internet, therefore they're normal. And they talk about their college days. I'm like, that was just not my experience.
Literally.
But also, to be fair, I was very similar in that, like, my career came before school did.
Totally. And, like, I'll go home to my friends from home, and, like, my best friend Sophie's in a sorority, and she'll be like, I have a date night. I'm like, with who? Like, congrats. Like, who is it? And she's like, no, like, sorority date night. And I'm
it's like a dance.
What,
You're
what
like,
is that? Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't have had it any other way, honestly. I don't think the football game tailgate life was for me. I got it out of my system.
Yeah, no,
in high school.
I feel that completely.
Yes.
Okay, so you're in school.
Mm-hmm.
How are you making these connections and then performing? Like when you get to Nashville, career-wise, what did you do?
So I owe it all to my parents, really. My parents both have the life that they have because of them and only them. And,
So sweet.
Shout out. Love them. But yeah, they worked their asses off and they were super supportive. Honestly, I'm really lucky, but they didn't know the music business I didn't either. So they were like, you get there and you have to, we're going to let you go to school for songwriting, basically, but you better work your ass off and figure out some ways. So honestly, I just DM'd people. I would look at the back of records and on Google, I guess, and find who wrote certain songs, and I would DM them, maybe 10 people a day at least. And I would email venues and find out which shows were, prestigious, I guess, and that were, a rite of passage almost, and I would email them and email them and email them. And, at first, obviously, they don't answer, but then they will. And I think for me, what it taught me is that these people want to work with the next wave of people. And most people are nice. Most people want to help up and coming people and at least see what they're about. And so I was really scared to do all that, but because I'm not the person that goes out and networks in person.
Yeah, well, okay, I just recorded with Jason Tardik on his new book right before you, and we were talking about networking. And he has a whole chapter on it, and it's very odd because I feel like networking feels so weird, and I am one of the most outgoing people you'll ever meet. I can talk to anyone, but in the same vein, I cannot fake anything for a career gain or anything that's not at the core of who I am. It's just authentic. It has to be authentic to the point where I'm like, Kenzie, shut the fuck up. Be a little more fake. It really would help you. It would. But I think that social media has been so helpful because you can network and meet all these people and make these connections a lot faster, a lot more efficient. They see you immediately. They can click a song. I think that's an incredible way.
I agree. That's why I love social media. Because I'm I'm really I'm really bad at matching energy. I can't. If someone's at 100, I'm not. I'm just not. Yeah. I can't match you, and I need to work on that, but I can't. And
I don't feel that's a bad thing at all.
Yeah. But some people are really fucking good at it and can go and talk to 10 people, get emails at a bar, and I'm like, it's just never gonna be me. Yeah. But instead of dwelling on it, I guess I was like, well, that's why social media is here.
You found a better way for you.
For me, yeah, and I think it worked. My second year, I was writing with Liz Rose, who wrote all of Taylor Swift stuff, and
crazy.
These people that wanted to write with new people. I mean, why wouldn't they? So, I think, and then obviously writing with people in my classes and discovering my style. I still write by myself as well, but I think just learning how to handle all sorts of personalities, because if you're a songwriter, you're gonna work with a lot of personalities.
Yeah, that would be tough.
It's very interesting.
Who was your first big yes? A time that you look back and you're like, that was a kind of monumental thing for me.
Definitely Liz Rose.
Yeah.
She wrote All Too Well.
That's so crazy. That is actually insane.
Literally. And I think she's probably the first songwriter I knew who she was. I don't know what other people think, but I grew up listening to music. I don't know exactly when, but I definitely didn't realize there were people who wrote the songs, if that makes sense. So she was the first person I was like, oh, Liz Rose wrote All Too Well. Liz Rose wrote You Belong With Me.
That is just insane. So when you meet her, are you hi?
Literally terrified.
Yeah,
I didn't sleep. And I would just, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm even flustered talking about it. I know her super well now, but it's like she has Grammys in her home. It's insane. But I think it made me realize that she's just a normal person who loves to write songs and create art. And she got really lucky because she's extremely talented. But why would she stop, you know, like writing with younger girls and people? And so I think like that was my big yes. And then it also kind of shaped the way I viewed collaboration and the people in this town to me, Nashville's a huge city. I'm not from anywhere like this, so
Nashville is a huge
really
city,
terrifying.
like,
yeah, but I have friends from like New York, and they're like, "This is like podunk," you know?
No, but Nashville is a huge city in the way of like reach and impact. Still, like
yes.
you know what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
obviously it's the home of country. It's massive. Still,
So true. And then when you're in it, like people say it's like the biggest small town ever. Everyone knows everyone.
It actually is, because in the past 36 hours that I've spent here, every person that I've talked to has known every other person that I know here that are in totally separate worlds. Yes. It is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Absolutely crazy.
It's wild.
I think it's just because everyone's like we have to meet everyone. So like
in social media,
probably why.
Sure.
Social media, yeah, totally.
Let's talk about Nashville.
Okay.
The culture here. What is it like? How do you feel living here? What are your thoughts, pros and cons?
Yeah. I do love it here. I'm from North Carolina, as I said, like a small town, Charlotte area. So kind of like, you know, just, I think probably similar to you, like no one bullshits.
Yeah.
You hear, it's small town in the way where you hear everything, you know everything, and about everyone. And here is a little different because people can be really fake, and I think that's like such a buzzword. I hate saying that, but it's like, what do you mean? You know, like, you want to meet with me? Why? Mm-hmm. And I'm used to that. Let's be blunt, you know, let's just talk about what we want to do instead of 10 meetings. And things get done really slow around here, too.
Just be direct, basically.
Yes, and so I think that can be hard with a creative business. I don't know if the influencer space is similar, but it's like, it's a business, but it's also directly connected to who you are as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think everyone's a little scared to hurt people's feelings, and it's opinion-based, so it's a little hard to navigate in that way, because what I think is good might not be what someone else thinks is good. But I have to take that all with a grain of salt and then move on to the next person. And so it's like, it's just an interesting, convoluted business, I would say. And I think Nashville's unique probably from LA or New York because there's so much community.
Yes.
And everyone writes with each other and knows each other. So then it gets even more complicated. Like, it's a good thing, but it's also a complicated thing.
I feel like everyone's, like, dated everyone here.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of...
Yes.
What's the word I'm looking for? I just think... Even just the stories I've heard in the past, I'm like, holy shit. Like, it is really...
It's like, congrats, you graduated from high school, now you're in high school again.
Exactly. That's... Yes. I love Nashville, though, even from the time I spent here. Obviously, this is the only other city I would live in. Like, if I were to leave Texas, I would be in Nashville.
Yes, and I love it here. Like, I hopefully have to live here, but I love it so much. Like,
well, with your new job,
new job, you have to.
I
have to, yes.
What has been your coolest experience living in Nashville?
I got to play the Ryman.
That is insane.
Insane. There's this thing called Whiskey Jam, which is one of those shows that everyone plays, and there was a 10-year anniversary show. And because everyone has played it, like Chris Young was there, Randy Travis, Jimmy Allen, like everyone. And I didn't meet any of them. Everyone? I was fly on the wall for sure, but I played it, and it was really, really cool. I think just like getting to be a part to the like ever-growing history of country music is really important to me. And adding like a new take on it, I think, is just really cool. And then getting to see like celebrities. I will die a fangirl.
Yes.
I do not care what people say.
That's the best attitude to have, by the way.
I literally, like, I'll be writing at Universal and someone crazy huge will walk in and I'm like, I'm there writing. That is where I'm signed, but I'm still like, oh my God.
No way.
No
You're here
way.
too?
Like, I'm also, yeah.
It's like, oh my God, you don't know me, but I know you.
Yes, I'm like, hello.
Yeah.
JK. I'm like, oh my God, crying.
No, that is actually crazy. They probably have also all heard like Joyride and stuff too. Like, do you think about that?
No.
I really think that it's kind of impossible to have not heard it at this point.
I would hope. I think that is a good mindset to have. Or like,
it's the spirit I'm living in.
Someone sent me Tinks' story.
I saw you
she
posted
was
that.
Listening to, like, it wasn't even about that, but she was just listening to Joyride. I was like, oh my God. Okay, passing away.
It's so wild. So you wanting to be a part of like country music history probably explains deep. And also, by the way, I'm like the biggest Casey Musgraves fan that there ever has been. I've gone to every single show she's ever had in Dallas.
Oh my God.
Love
the
her.
Star-Crossed tour was good.
So good. I know we talked about it. It was just so good. So that probably explains why you love, obviously, Casey, because I feel like Casey has brought so much to country music. She's incredibly open. I mean, you look at Merry Go Round, and like, I mean, it's just very. Also, like, I think country has like a stigma of being less accepting in certain ways, whether it be like the color of your skin or your sexual orientation or whatever it is. So that makes a lot of sense that you love Casey so much. Who are some other artists that you really like look to or love or admire in the space, or just like friends of yours maybe that you think are like really cool?
Yeah, I love Brothers Osborne. I think they're killing it. Love them. Mickey Guyton. She's like totally forging her own path. And Brittany Spencer also played with Brothers Osborne at the ACMs.
Yeah, I love her.
Freaking killed it. She's amazing. I'm loving Marin. I feel like Marin Morris. My first name basis issue again. I'm loving like watching her kind of come into her own. You know, she's like a married woman with a kid, and I feel like she's like saying what she wants to say now, which is really cool to watch. Not that she didn't, but it's just different vibe, and I love that. I love like Caitlin Butts and Flatland Cavalry, so I love that type of music. Like I love Texas country, and
love Texas country.
Love it, yes. But yeah, I guess it's the people who sound different than everyone else that I really love, and that I hope people feel the same way about me when they hear me.
No, definitely.
I hope so, because what's the point?
Yeah.
Otherwise.
No, I totally get it. Who has been the craziest person that you've met?
Oh. So I wrote with Charles Kelly from Lady A.
Wild.
And that was really crazy. He looks the exact same in person, and like we'll be writing and he's like in the corner, like pretending like he's on stage, like the exact way he would sing it on stage, and that was so cool. Yeah, I think it's just people like that. I'm like, oh my God.
It is so crazy.
Like we're in the same town doing the same thing. Like obviously not, but like kind of.
No, you are.
Like
that
we're writing
crazy.
together. It's so weird. So
it's also cool because I feel like you have a really cool like almost like spirit or attitude about it, to where you're not like discrediting yourself, because obviously you're in the same rooms as these people, and like you've earned that right, and you have a job now.
I have a job.
I have a job that allows you to be doing that.
I have a career. Oh no, I'm an employee.
Exactly. No, but it's cool because you're very humble about it, but not in a way where you're like, you still realize how cool it is, but you're not discrediting yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you struggle with imposter syndrome?
Oh my God, yeah.
It's just, I think everyone does, but it doesn't come across that way.
Thank you. I think the only thing that has helped me, or the main thing that has helped me, my friend Ashley Ray said this, who is going to have a really amazing record come out. She's like, why else were you put on this earth but to be exactly who you are? And so I think that has really, I'm really spiritual, and so like that has really stuck with me, because I mean, is that not the truth? Why would I, like, we're inspired by people. That's the point of art, to get inspired and to feel connected, but that's only so you can like reach a deeper part of yourself and find what you're trying to say at your core. I don't think it's for any other reason besides trying to find what you're trying to say, because I have the talent to be able to write and sing, but there's hundreds of people that are going to feel the exact same way that I'm feeling and need to hear my voice. Like, I think that's what helps me with imposter syndrome is people need to hear what I have to say. And as gross as that feels, saying it out loud, it's true.
That is really healthy, though, and like very cool to be able to say that, though.
Yeah, I'm like, ew. But it is true.
It is true.
Like, so everyone needs to hear what you have to say. Everyone. And I just think, like, who am I to keep that in, I guess? Like, you're doing them a disservice by keeping it in. It's the same with, like, self-promotion. I'm like, I'm doing myself and the world a disservice by not, like, being proud of who I am and what I have created.
Because then you would just be making yourself smaller and putting yourself in a box, which also, if you think about it, if you have, like, young girls looking up to you, that's the opposite of what you tell them to do.
Totally.
So it's so interesting when you're in that position and then all of a sudden you, like, feel stupid for being able to say, you know, and it's like, you shouldn't. And also it's against what you're preaching, but it's harder to practice.
Oh my God, yes. And it's like, I'm sure you feel this way again, being on the internet, like, I get DMs. You have to balance it and only and still come with your best foot forward. And I don't think that's, like, an inauthentic foot forward. I think it's just, like, honestly, I'm, like, getting therapy from being on social media a little bit.
Do you mean, like, hateful DMs?
Yes.
Oh, my God,
Or just, like, you know, people not liking your stuff. Or just, I don't know, just...
Negative.
Yeah. And I could take it, and it really sucks, but I think it's just, like, helpful to have those, honestly, and to keep, like, going and still remembering that because that person didn't want to hear what I have to say, it doesn't mean no one else does.
Would you identify as a people pleaser?
A little bit. I think my friends would describe me as, like, pretty no bullshit. Like, I don't really care what you think, but, like, deep down, for sure. Yeah. Again, I think it's, like, the Gemini thing, or, like, I mean, we're all a little complex, more complex than we come off. I think that's what I hope to, like, show is that I think, like, my vibe is maybe, like, free-spirited and, like, stuff like that, but I struggle with mental I'm, like, on a lot of medication. Yeah. Like, to be normal every day, to leave my house. And so you can be both. And, yeah, I would say I'm not a people pleaser, but every time someone's like, well, not everyone's going to like you, I'm like, yeah, they will.
But what do you mean about that?
What do you mean? That was so mean of you to say
That was so weird that you think that because it's just totally not true.
Maybe for you.
Yeah. Sorry, maybe they don't like you, Karen, but they're going to like me.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
I talk all the time, though, about both and on this podcast. I mean, that's the whole point of Breadwinning Housewife, right?
Yes,
so
for sure.
It's interesting because I felt like for so long, I talked so often about how my 23rd year was just hell. Yes. But it was a lot of me rewiring and resetting what I really wanted. I felt like I was on track for a life that I didn't actually want. Yeah. And it was really difficult because I would have always said beforehand that I had a very strong head on my shoulders. I knew myself very well and I knew where I was going. And I remember when I was like, okay, I need to change everything about my life. I'm, like, really fucking miserable. And I was talking to my therapist, and she was like, that doesn't mean, like, doesn't discredit every single thing about you. You can be all those things and also want to make a change. Yeah. And you can be confident and also have insecure days. And you can be, like, headstrong and also not. Like, we're just complex. Like, no one is 100% of anything 100% of the time.
And that is why I feel like sometimes, like, TikTok or just, like, I love the destigmatization of mental health and all that stuff, but sometimes you don't need to identify with anything. Yes. And sometimes, like, the Enneagram, great, all that stuff, but, like, I guess we're just at our most core, we are craving to connect, so we want to identify as one thing. It's not true.
It's really interesting what our generation is so obsessed with identity and finding, and I don't mean, like, identity and, like, sexual orientation identity. I mean, like, finding identity in anything outside of yourself. Yes. And so it's interesting, like, you have to, maybe we're searching for belonging and acceptance. I think so. And therefore we think we're going to find it in a certain identity. But the problem with that is that you think you can only be, like, if you again, it's literally Breadwinning Housewife. It's like you can be someone who, like, literally is an astronaut, but also like a YA novel, like something like that's a stupid example. But
it's not, because it's so true.
Like, you can be a lot of different things. Yes. You don't have to put yourself in a box, essentially.
Yes. Even if it's a big box.
Yes.
You still don't have to be there.
You don't have to be there.
I think. And I guess I'm, like, kind of coming to terms with, I could possibly wake up every single day and be a different person, and I have to be okay with that. And, like, so I think knowing who you are, I think gets a little confusing, because I know who I am, but I don't know if I could, like, write it down on a piece of paper, and I think that's okay.
And also, you don't know who you're going to be next week.
No.
Especially in your 20s. You're changing so much.
Yes.
But it's interesting because I naturally, I think, for myself, I see things, or I used to see things very black and white. So I was in therapy for this. But I don't see the world that way at all. Yeah. And I don't see anyone else that way at all. Yeah. And it was the way I would treat myself, or the things I would expect of myself. It was unbelievable, but I would never... I mean, my friends do something, I make excuses for them left and right.
Oh, I'm like, you cheat. I can't even say that.
But listen, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm like, I hated him anyways. Like, but it's crazy how much grace we'll offer to other people and not ourselves. And I think that that's probably tied to, I mean, it was for me when I was like, I know who I am, though. And I had a really hard time reckoning with the fact of, like, I know who I am, but I also don't know who I am right now. Like, I'm very confused, and I'm changing that. Yeah. But also, I think having the awareness to know that about yourself is also knowing who you are. So it's actually kind of really confusing.
I know. It's I think knowing who you are is the most confusing thing. And because it's ever changing and you're never actually going to know who you are, that makes me literally break out in hives. But I have to just let it be.
I think knowing who you are, too, in a weird way, is like, knowing that you don't know who you are at all times, and that you're constantly going to evolve. Because if I was who I am, I mean, I love my job, I love my career, I love the community, but I love so much about it. Yes. The one thing that I've really struggled with, or that's really bothered me, is people holding me to who I was at 16, 18, 21, my college days, like certain things. I'm like, I'm a different person. I'm at the core, I've always been me. Yeah. I'm the same that I am the exact same that I was in like young days. Like, people who are like, you really aren't different. Yeah. It's just obviously, it's weird because it's like you're completely different, but you're the same. The core of who you are, I think, stays the same often.
I think so.
But it is annoying, I think, being online and then like having just platforms in general, people trying to hold you to that. And then I think everyone can relate to that because people in real life do that all the time.
Totally. And then I think what I have to remember is, but they're only seeing what I'm allowing them to see.
Very true.
So maybe I can't be like, oh, have I changed? I only allowed them to see this part. Maybe I'm allowing them to see this part now. And that's on me, and I have to like be okay with that. I think, like, I mean, I love to gossip about people, so I get why people like to gossip about me. Demois? No. Spend a lot of time on there. So I get it.
Not skinny, but not fat?
No.
Oh my God, I will send her your profile.
Okay.
You will, like, love her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she's so good.
Love it.
Okay, you mentioned being spiritual. Yeah. What does that mean to you?
So I grew up Christian, but I think I found a little more, not more than that, but I think what was hard for me is that I grew up black and white too. Like it's God or it's the devil.
Yeah. No.
And
literal extremes. Yeah.
Literal extremes. And that was terrifying to me. And I started finding myself wondering about what happens in the middle. And to other people, you know, like, what about the person who's never heard the word God in his life? So that was really honestly scary to me, and it made me like hate God for a second, hate church, all that stuff. And I don't go to church, full disclosure. I don't.
Me neither.
I am not your organized religion girl.
Yeah.
But I think like whatever's out there, I call it God. But I think he loves us all. He made us who we are. I think he made gay people gay. I think he made straight people straight. I
agree.
We're all just who we are. And if you care so much about someone else, I think you should think about yourself.
Or, like, get a life. But,
really, you know, read a book. Like,
no, like, I can give you a list of things that you should do. Yeah, go on a walk.
Like, take a...
Open TikTok.
Knitting. Yeah, I don't know, but
literally.
if we're
listen to a podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least my God doesn't care. And if
maybe you have a different God.
Yeah, maybe we're going different places, and you know,
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that, honestly, because I don't want to be where you are.
Yes, I think for me, just in like faith and spirituality and stuff, and like I have taken a major step back, and I just always have. Even when I have been in it, I didn't grow up in the church. I obviously, like, I've been in and out of it throughout my life. I didn't grow up in it, ironically, growing up in Texas. I also didn't grow up with my friends outside of friends that I knew from church. Like, they were not super Christian. My friends in Texas, none of them are even Christians. Like, I have a very backwards way of living. Then I go to LA and I go to church. So it was, like, very weird. So I will always surprise you. That is the one thing about me. But I think there's beautiful things about it. Obviously, there's pros.
For sure.
There's a lot of cons. And I think it was hard for me when we're talking about black and white. Like, I don't agree with you on a lot of things. Not you personally, like the church. And it's like, it was really hard to navigate of like, okay, but then I feel like I don't belong here. Yes. And it was just, I don't know, it's interesting, but I do think I like bring it up because it's obviously so many people listening to this podcast all about your 20s, and it's a very hot topic, and a lot of people have grown up in whatever whatever, it could be Mormonism, it could be whatever religion it is, and in their 20s, I think a lot of the time people leave and come back too, but give yourself the freedom to do that. Like, you need. I was holding myself in a box, and I was like, I don't, like, this stuff was driving me up a wall, but I felt like I couldn't be honest. And finally, when I let myself breathe, when I thought it was going to be so scary and everyone was going to be so mad at me and whatever, and like, sure, I'm sure those people are mad. I mean, they're mad listening to this. I know actually for a fact. I'm like, more down. Thank you. No, but I think it's the healthiest thing I ever did was give myself space again to change my mind. Yeah. Which is good for you.
And discover who you are, or what you think. Not who you are. We don't know who we are, but what you think. Because I did the same. I came here. Everyone goes to church here. And I went to a couple. They'd say one thing, and I was like, no, I don't agree. And maybe that's unhealthy, but I had to realize that that was how I was feeling and just be like, okay, well, then I'll find my own version of spirituality. And, maybe, like, one day when I have kids, I don't know if I'd want to go back to church, but I'm good for now.
Yeah, me too.
And he or whatever, she, they hears me. So I'm a good person, and I can stand by that. And that's all I need to know for at the moment.
Yeah, and it's just a personal, like, obviously it's a journey. Like, I always say that. I normally don't even talk about this stuff at all.
I know, I'm like,
we can edit out if you want.
No,
but
I'm good.
It's good because it's one of those things where it's like, I'm giving myself freedom to change my mind, and I know that I'll feel differently in 5 years. I don't know how I'll feel, but I know myself enough to know that I will feel differently in 5 years.
Yes.
You know?
And I know it's such a thing. I'm pretty sure everyone struggles with spirituality because it's the most, no one knows. And then I think that freaked me out. And then also I have to, like, it's just this whole long thing. Because then I'm like, oh, Christianity's terrible. But it's not. I mean, every religion has pros and cons. Yes. So it can't be like that either. It's just, I found my own path. And right now I'm vibing in it. But I just, it's convoluted for sure.
It's just, everything's complex too, like you were saying. I think there's good and bad to probably everything. Besides, I mean, like, the extreme. But, like, generally speaking, I think there's probably good and bad. Yes. But I just think, especially, like, in your 20s, I'm not telling everyone to leave everything they've ever believed. If it works for you, it works for you. I just think that it needs to be talked about more.
I agree.
And you need to give yourself the freedom to do so, because speaking for myself, it took me a bit to give myself the freedom to do so. And I'm the first person who's going to do whatever I want. I had a YouTube channel when I was 16. Like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Yes. So for me, like, I can't even imagine how scary it would be for someone who maybe isn't as, like, strong and, like, I just am going to do whatever I want, good or bad, you know? Yeah. And, like, a lot of it's bad, to be clear.
Yeah, to be clear.
You know? Okay, so thank you for coming on. I could talk to you for like 17 hours.
So fun.
I'll be having you back, don't worry. Where can they find you and your music?
So my name is Carter Faith. So pretty much everything is just Carter Faith. I think on Instagram it's Carter Faith Official. Cringe.
No, not cringe.
Not cringe.
Not cringe.
But yeah, my music's on everything, and yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.